So, Mr. Nunez, you said they nitpicked your work.
So they pointed all of this out right before we left, and when we walked in, they already had a painter that worked on the ceiling, caulking the cabinets and ready to get started on our cabinet.
Hold on. You know what nitpick means, right?
Like picking on all the issues.
Nitpicking is like, oh, do you see the place where the window doesn't quite fit the... It's not finding legitimate issues.
Very.
And do you feel like they were overly picky?
Yes, they were saying there's paint on the glass, we can take off the hardware, there's all this. He was talking about that little crack. You caulk that in. We can sand down all the paint.
I'm not worried about the crack. Go to page 9 of their evidence.
Yeah, we weren't done.
You weren't done what?
We weren't done with the job, the project.
What had you not done yet?
What have we not done? Installed the hardware properly, actually see the gauge.
Okay, but installing is not going to fix the fact that you've got paint splatters everywhere.
Sanding. You can still sand it and fix it.
But you told them you were done painting.
No, we didn't.
Yes,
Ah, sir.
So we're
Hold
done.
on, please, sir. Hold on.
Page 28.
We've done everything.
Is it page 28?
Page 28.
Your text message. On March 7th, we're done painting. Just need to install now. You don't say like, hey, these are going to be in rough condition because we haven't finished painting or sanding them. I mean, you tell me, do you agree with me that...
They look bad, yeah.
That's bad. Okay, so you agree.
I
and then
agree,
I'm
but
looking
we
at
weren't
these. The nails have stripped the paint. I mean, that's worse than a DIY home job. My husband can do better than that, and I don't let my husband do anything around the house. Anything.
You're a lucky man.
Yeah, right. So you agree that these are not up to par?
No, and they pointed all that out before we left, and we asked to, literally handle it and take care of it before we left. I wasn't thinking we were gonna get fired. I literally thought, okay, all those little nicks, when we pulled them out and we saw a little bit of cracks, we would fix this. I want to do everything with integrity.
Judge Corriero.
All right. What damages to your cabinets did you perceive at that time? And can you point to any photographs that show the damage before you gave him $250?
So Ms. Givens called me as I was at work. By the time I got home, I had already contacted them based on what she had said, so I didn't even look.
Well, Ms. Givens,
and
what
did
you see before you gave them any money?
There were scratches everywhere, paint chipped off.
These photographs that you've given us, were they things that you saw before you gave him $250?
We actually saw all of this, but we didn't know the extent of it. We had a couple of people come give us estimates about fixing it, and it was going to be more to fix what they'd done. So we ended up having to get new faces, which is what we were trying not to do.
I want to show you something. You say you finished your painting, but don't you put strips on the edges so that if your paint dribbles over like the front? You didn't do that here.
We did.
Do you see these photographs? That's the front of a drawer.
Yes.
You see the border? Anyone would know that you ought to put a strip at the border so that if you are sloppy, it'll go on the strip rather than the wood. So you explain to me how this is good workmanship.
You can look at page 3. I taped and bordered everything off. If you look in closely, you can see even the edges and everything. I did it.
I see a chipped corner.
Just
how do you explain that?
Transporting and just got nicked up in the car.
I don't have any other questions.
Can you just tell me what the conversation was about the $250? Tell me what words were said.
We don't want you to continue anymore. We already gave you $750. It was for $1,500. Give us our cabinet or our hardware, and then we're fine.
And we'll give you $250, and then we'll call it a day. That's it.
Thank you very much. We're going to excuse the parties. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Shabazian, Ms. Givens, Mr. Nunez, we have come to a unanimous verdict in this case. After looking through the evidence and the pictures of the cabinets and the paint job, Mr. Nunez, this job wasn't done very well. And it was pretty apparent why. And that's just it, Mr. Shabazian, Ms. Givens. The mistakes that were made with the paint job were so apparent. And you had the opportunity to inspect the cabinets and to really see the extent of the damage before deciding to part ways and pay the defendant an additional $250. The matter was resolved when you did that under the court in satisfaction. Because of that, we don't necessarily have a choice but to dismiss your claim because there's nothing to resolve. It was resolved then, and you don't get to then come back less than a month later to the defendant and say, hey, you got to go back on that deal. So the matter was done, especially for the defendant. It was apparent through text messages that he believed the matter was resolved then. So because of that, the verdict is to dismiss your claim today.